Okay, we're starting to record, so it looks like we got about 9 out of the usual 10 or 11. I guess when Ryan shows up after our normal 10, well, Cole over here usually he'll make it probably about 11. Okay, last day of class, folks. It's come up quick, and we said the exam was next Thursday at 8 o'clock. And you all agreed that 8:30 would be okay with you, and it's definitely okay with me, okay, next Thursday. So, no class on Tuesday, of course, so 1 week from today, 8:30, you'll have your exam. Now, I have a tax exam somewhere around 10 o'clock, but it's a small class, and that won't harm you all at all, you can stay as long as you want to finish the exam. Now, I have a copy of the exam, it's 50 multiple choice. Now, first page, of course, starts out with bank reconciliation. And anyhow, it's got a couple of questions on internal control. And what do you see with your bank statement indicates specific invoice, might be a debit or a credit memorandum. So we'll go with those. Now, you got a couple of questions here on the voucher system. We didn't cover the voucher system very much, but all it is, you've got an accounts payable. And you're in the county department, you want to pay that accounts payable. So you fill out a voucher and you get somebody who's authorized to sign it. You can even debit accounts payable and credit voucher payable if you want to. And debit voucher payable, credit cash. That's double interest that I don't like to see you have to do. But the voucher system is a form of internal control to get somebody's authority before you pay a bill. So read over the voucher system. Remember, you could have notes.
You have to like work anything out, like on paper. If we do, you want us to write on there or have like a sheet of paper to do it on?
Should bring a calculator. You'll have some calculator. You can write on here. It's on the back.
Okay.
Second page is also questions on bank reconciliations and outstanding checks. And, okay, what's added to the bank balance, or what's subtracted from the bank balance, what's added to the checkbook balance, what's subtracted. All right, you will have to do the balance per book, so you'll definitely need a calculator. And you got a couple of questions on petty cash and so on. Now from there, we moved up to chapter 9, and please know those methods of writing off a bad debt. One was the direct write-off method, one was the allowance method. Now, under the allowance method, there's two situations. One is just percent of sales, and you debit allowance for doubtful, well, you debit, you do an adjusting entry, you debit bad debt expense and credit allowance for doubtful accounts. And then you use that by paper accounts receivable. We'll try to review that.
So we had the direct write-off method and what?
And the allowance method. Under the allowance method, know the two situations. All right, journal entry on here, you have to calculate it. I have to adjust an entry, you've got to calculate the allowance in the bad debt account. Okay, and then of course you add notes. Hopefully we'll practice a little bit on notes this morning. And then you have appreciation and a couple of calculations. So anyhow, 50 questions. Okay, that's Now we have reached our max today.
What about chapter 10?
The what?
You didn't talk about chapter.
Yeah, we're going to. I'll probably just wait on exam day and get your input on attendance, registration, and bonuses. Because you'll have until next Thursday to complete all your bonuses. Now, Cengage is going to count as part of your grade. Now, who has chapter 8 and 9 100% finished? Kelly? Chapter 9. Now, Kelly, if you start on chapter 10.
I'm done with chapter 10.
How'd you do on chapter 10?
I think I got like a 98.6.
Okay. Somebody's finished off. Hopefully, all of you have done chapter 8. Finished, I'm not going to ask. Because if you hadn't started chapter 8, I'd probably throw something at you. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get fired before I put in one more semester.
But you don't have tenure?
What?
You don't have tenure? You don't have tenure?
I didn't apply for tenure.
Oh.
They wanted me to.
You can punch a kid, they can't do anything to you.
Well,
They'll say it's the other guy's fault.
I don't even like tenure. I don't believe in tenure. I believe if you're bad, you ought to go. And for tenure, it's protected a couple of bad professors over the years. They shouldn't be here. You must know one.
Yeah.
Must know a couple, okay. But they asked me to apply for tenure, and I wasn't gonna stay. I only wanted to come up here 1 year, that was 9 years ago. Next year, they asked me to stay. I went leave then. And they advertised for somebody. They couldn't find anybody they liked, so they called me to stay again. So here I am, 9 years later. So, if I had tenure, they might have got rid of me. No, seriously, tenure, I had tenure in the public schools, I had tenure at community college, but I don't believe in it.
So for bonuses on this one, we have the one that you're already taking up, when you assign this Tuesday, or possibly our attendance one. Our registration and our, Cengage, right?
Not Cengage. Cengage is going to be something, a part of your grade. Basically, you've got 4 test grades, and that's 400 points. I'll probably throw Cengage in there as half of the test grade, make it 450 points. And that's the help that most everybody should have around 50 points on Cengage, no less than 45. So I'll throw that in. That'll help pull up the other grades. But the bonuses we will collect, and we'll cover what bonuses are due before this class ends today. Okay? All right. Now, depreciation, folks, we started on it a little bit the other day, and sorry I had to leave. I have listened to 3 of these people. There's 4 applying for the dean's job. And the guy yesterday was impressive. He's been down around Texas. Probably most of his students are in the Army. And I think he's been around East Carolina. He's taken a bunch of students to Australia. And I think he has his law degree, his PhD, and his MBA. But with all that, my biggest question is, been in big cities, why did he want to come here? And how long will he stay? Some people like to come for a year and get experience to put on a resume. All right, we studied 3 kinds of depreciation: straight line, double declining balance, and activities. I call it units of production method. They call it activity based. And activity based is probably a better name because units can be hours, it can be miles, and it can be units. So it is an activity. Computers used to be depreciated by the hour if you had to rent somebody else's server. But that was a long time ago. There's not much servers being rented out nowadays. But under these three methods, straight line, just give you an example. We need to look at part year and move on. We need to look at trade-ins and so forth, or selling or what have you. But if the cost of something is $10,000 and the residual or scrap, disposable trade-in, if it were 1,000, and if the life in years is equal to 5. All right. Now, what is your depreciation for year 1 and year 2 for straight line? What is your depreciation? 1,800. Okay. So your little formula there is cost minus residual over the life, and that would be 9,000 divided by 5, which is 1,800. All right, what is it the second year? Okay. And it would be the same for the third, the fourth, the fifth. And after the fifth, you'd have 1,000 left. All right, what is your accumulated depreciation after 2 years? 3,600. What is your book value after 2 years? 6,400. That's just cost minus accumulated depreciation. Now, that is your answer unless it's part year. What if we bought this item on 9/1/18? How many months are left in the year? Ryan, count again. 4 months. Now, even if this was 9/11, there's 4 months left. 9/11 don't sound good. Anything under 9/15, you count it as a whole month. All right. So we're at 9/1/18, which is 4 months left over 12. So give me 4 months depreciation part year for year 1. How much?
600.
That's 1,800 times 1/3, isn't it? Now, you can use decimal 333 or whatever. If you take it out enough, it will still be 1/3 of 1,800. You said was 600. Now, the second year is still going to be how much? All right. Now, the third year, the fourth year, and the fifth year will be 1,800. But you'll have a sixth year. How much will it be? 1,200. 9 months. You only had 3 months in year 1, so you're going to have 9 months in year 6. Okay. All right. Now that's straight line, folks. Now, looking at the same problem for double declining balance. Year 1, year 2. All right. You forget about residual. And you got to change 5 to a percent. What percent is that a year? 1/5, 1/5, that's 20%. Or just divide 5 into 100. Gives you 20. All right. And we got to do what with that 20? Because this is double. All right. So that's 40%. Okay. So what is my first year depreciation? All right. And that leaves you a book value of how much? 6. And what's 40% of 6? How much? All right. Now, to keep going on down, let's go on down with this one. Year 3, what is 40% of 4,600? That's what you, 30, what do you have left? 3,600? What would it be? All right, and year 4,
$440.
now what is my accumulated depreciation up to that point?
9,000.
No, not 9
Oh,
yet.
sorry, no, it's not 440, sorry.
Year 4 should be 864.
Yeah.
800 what?
864.
Yeah, I just took year 3, it's the book value.
Okay. If you add all these together, what do you get? Accumulated depreciation. Or just give me my book value after you take out 864.
576.
Huh?
Wait, what did you want to do?
All right. Let me back up here and find some room. After year 1, my book value is how much? All right. Now, after year 2, my book value is how much? After year 3, what is my book value? If you take out 1440, how much?
2160.
All right, and you took 40% of that and got, did you get 864? So take 864 from this, and what's my book value?
1296.
12 what?
96.
All right. Now my depreciation is going to be 296 in year 5. Why? You can't go below the $1,000 salvage residual value. Okay. All right. Now that's a pretty good story on declining balance. However, same problem, if I can remember it, 10,000, 1,000 scrap, 5-year life. Now, again, we bought this on 9/1/18. Give me depreciation for year 1.
Depreciate $2,000 year 1.
Well, double declining balance, you don't take out a scrap. And what percent are we using for 5 years?
20%.
40. Okay, so what is 40% of 10,000?
4,000.
We know it's 4,000 for a whole year, but 4 months over 12 is 1/3 of a year. So what is 4,000 times 1/3?
33.
And 33 cents, but we don't need to take it out. All right. Now the second year, take the book value and multiply it by 40%.
3466.
How much?
3,470 for 3,466.72.
All right, round it off. Okay, so part year is not hard for double declining. Okay, just do it the same way you do. Now, the activity based, which I call units of production, we're going to take the same problem. Now, the life in units let's say is 50,000 units. 50,000 hours, 50,000 miles, 50,000 something. Now, in the first year, I produced 8,000 units. In the second year, 10,000 units. Now, give me the depreciation, okay, for year one and year two. All right. You divided 9,000 cost minus residual over 50,000. Is that 18 cents a unit?
Yes.
18 cents?
Yeah.
All right. So we use that 18 cents up here. Depreciation per unit. All right. And what is your depreciation for year one? How much? And year two? Now, it doesn't matter when we bought the machine in year one. If we bought it 9/1/18 and still produced 8,000 units, your depreciation is still the same. There's no such thing as part years. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Now, that's the three methods, folks. And I do expect you to know those. Now, when we make an entry for any of these depreciation items, what do I debit? What do I debit? And you have to spell it out too. Okay, I can get away with abbreviating, but accounting, you should spell everything out.
So you mean like in general, or are you talking about we have to do it?
Spell it out when you do an entry, and then accumulate depreciation. See, I can get away with AD, but
We credit accumulated depreciation.
yeah. All right. Now I'm going to go back to PowerPoint for a minute. Now, I ran you through depreciation yesterday and reviewed you a little bit this morning. Yeah, there's problems and things we should work and homework we should work. Now, if you finished all of Cengage, did you have to calculate depreciation very much in Cengage? So is it coal? What do I want to call him? Is it Blocker? What's your last name?
Webster, like the dictionary.
Webster. I don't know why I want to get Blocker in there. It mentions leasing assets. And if you lease assets, you can also depreciate. If you build a building on leased property, you can depreciate that building. The life of that building would be the life of the lease. Now, revised depreciation, you won't have to probably do that on the test, but if we were depreciating something for 5 years, all right, depreciation is $26,000 a year. Now, after 2 years, you take your item. What is your accumulated depreciation after 2 years? All right, 52,000. Does that leave you 88? All right, after 2 years, the book value, see, this is cost minus accumulated depreciation is equal to book value. So after 2 years, we got a new book value. Now we can use the same scrap or you may have a new scrap, but you decide that the life should have been 8 years. So how many years do you have left? How many? 6. So you'll take 88,000 minus your residual value and divide it by 6, and you've got revised depreciation. Okay? It can go down or up.
They're gonna be on the test.
Probably. A question anyway. All right. Now, maintenance and repairs, you just debit repair and maintenance expense. Let's say you bought a new truck for your business. And if you've had it for 6 months and it needs tires, that's repair and maintenance, isn't it? All right. If you need other things, gas and oil, that's repair and maintenance, isn't it? Right? But if you first buy that truck,
Wouldn't gas be more under operating costs?
Yeah,
That'd be a-
it can be repair and maintenance, or it can be under just gasoline expense or operating expense. Yeah, you could name it different things. But now, if you bought a used pickup truck for $12,000, and before you put it in operation, you got to put new tires on it. Okay, you got to put a new battery in it. That just goes on to the cost. Then you would depreciate 12,500. Okay. Now, extraordinary repairs can be a capital expenditure. Now, this is what you were asking me about it yesterday. You got a pickup truck, it's on your books for 20,000, and you've got accumulated depreciation of 8. Well, that book value is only 12, isn't it? But let's say you put a new motor in it. All right. You put a new motor and you debit depreciation, accumulated depreciation in credit cash. Well, that 4,500 is going to subtract from your accumulated depreciation. It will make the book value of your truck higher, but it will not make the initial cost higher. Because the truck is no more valuable. Just at this point, you make it more valuable because you reduce depreciation. Same thing with improvement. You may build a garage onto a rental home. That's an improvement, isn't it? You may put a record hitch or whatever on a pickup truck. You can depreciate it separate or add it on and depreciate it. The service value of the delivery truck might be improved by adding a hydraulic lift. So you debit delivery truck and credit cash and depreciate it. And do know that a capital expenditure is depreciation, depletion. A revenue expenditure is salary expense, utility expense, and so on. All right. Now, here's something we didn't talk about yesterday. All right. How many of you own your own vehicle? All right. How many ways can you get rid of it?
Several.
What?
Several.
What are some ways?
Sell it.
Well, it will be number one, hopefully.
Trade-in.
Trade it in be number two.
Scrap it.
Torture for the
Scrap
insurance
it,
money.
take it to the junkyard.
Drive it into the lake.
Alright.
No, that's pollution.
Now, if you total it and you got insurance, that's the same as selling it. If your vehicle is totaled, you get a check from the insurance company, that's the sales price. All right? And if it's totaled and they fix it, then there's no accounting records of it then. The total, they fix it back the way it was. Okay, now, on our books, if it's a vehicle, a car or a truck, you've got a truck and according to studies, trucks and SUVs are replacing cars and sedans and so on. All right, but if you got a truck on your books for $20,000 and you've got accumulated depreciation for 19, you've had that truck for quite a while. Well, the book value of that truck's only how much? Now, if you throw it away, you run it over the hill, give it away, take it to the junkyard, and you get no money out of it, you've got a debit accumulated depreciation for 19,000, and you got a credit truck for 20 to get them off your books. So what do you debit for 1,000?
Goodwill.
Loss. Got to debit a loss.
What about loss?
Your debit a loss. But let's look at that again, Margot. All right. Now, this equipment is fully depreciated, so we debit accumulated depreciation and credit equipment. They're both gone off our books, right? They both have zero value. They're not an asset or a contra asset anymore. But now, if you fully depreciate it, it costs $6,000. All right, what's your book value? What is your book value? 6,000 minus 4,650.
1350.
How much?
13.
1,350. You got to bring depreciation up to date, though. And if that reduces the book value, it may be worth 1,200. Let's see. It's worth 1,200. Now, if you give it away, you got to get rid of equipment and accumulate depreciation. Now, Margot, here's what I was talking about. Your debit loss. It's like an expense. Your debit loss on disposal. It could be equipment. It could be a computer. I'm sure some of you had computers that you didn't do anything with. They got so outdated, right? All right.
So, for our example that you showed us with the truck for 20,000 and accumulated depreciation for 19,000.
You had a debit, a loss of 1,000.
Okay. All right, then accumulated depreciation would be 19,000 and then the truck would be 20,000.
Yes. I could write it in right here. 19,000, 20,000, and 1,000 loss. Okay. All right. Well, what if we sell it? Same thing. You either got a loss or you got a gain.
Do you have if you had if it was only $1,000, you sold it for more than that.
Yeah, you got a gain. Or less, you got a loss.
What do you do with $1,000? You have to still.
Is it gain? Do you credit gain?
Yeah, that's like other income on the income statement. All right. But what they keep showing you here, you bring depreciation up to date. It's sold for cash on October the 12th. So how many months have went by? Was it 9? 9 months? That's what they're using, 9/12. 9 months have passed. So you got to record 9 months of depreciation, then sell it.
If it was October the 15th, would it be 10 months? Then
It's hard to call if it's right on the 15th. If it's 16th, be 10 months.
Okay.
If it's the 14th, and on the 15th, you can go probably either way.
Okay.
We don't have any 15ths on our test.
No.
Yes, it is.
All right, we sold it for its book value. So we debit cash for the book value, debit accumulated depreciation, credit equipment. No loss, no gain. But now if we sell it for $3,000, we'd have a $750 gain, wouldn't we? So let's see what the author did. No, the author sold it for $1,000. But something has to happen to that book value of $2,250. So we will debit a loss. A loss is like an expense. A loss will reduce your net income on your income statement. It's like another expense. They call it extraordinary gains and losses, which will show up on the income statement later.
Yeah, if it's a gain, we have to put it as a credit.
A gain is like other revenue. And
Well, that's why I have.
we sold it for more than book value and we've got a gain. Okay. All right, now on exchanges gets a little more technical. So it's in the appendix and I'd like to cover it, but we don't have time.
So it's not gonna be on this.
Right. And if it is, I'll
You'll get
give you the
it.
answer.
Awesome.
Okay?
I like it.
It's either A, B, C, or D.
Yes. Now, natural resources. And we said in West Virginia, we have gas, we have coal, we have timber. Now, all natural resources are depleted. Now, when it comes to animals, some people call those natural resources, some don't. I do not call animals natural resources. But some natural resources can be replenished, like timber. But you can't make any more coal, can you? You can't make gold, you can't make diamonds, you can't make silver or copper.
You can make diamonds.
Can you make diamonds how?
You inject carbon under intense pressure and heat, make it, because we can make artificial diamonds.
But it's still artificial diamond.
Yeah, they still need the diamond criteria for strength.
Yeah.
Oh, do they? For strand. Okay.
They may not be like, yes, fine, but they have less defections.
Well, we don't make any more natural gas, do we? Or, but don't we make ethanol? How do you make ethanol?
Gas. Corn. Well, yeah, ethanol, corn.
Ethanol? Make it corn?
What does that mean? Is that technically natural? Because we have to do a chemical process to it.
I know. That's not a natural resource.
Corn.
Corn's not a natural resource, that's a crop. But now, you can make gas out of cow manure.
Yeah.
Okay?
What would a farmer consider cows and stuff then? I guess it's just,
Inventory.
the herd or whatever.
Depends what they use them for.
Well, they sell it as a business, like that's their livelihood.
If they raise it for sale, it's inventory.
Okay.
If they raise them for milk, it would be an asset. And it's funny, we were talking about depreciation. This is another reason males appreciate more than females. In the farming business, you can depreciate a bull 3 years, but a cow 6 years. Okay? Bulls are whatever, life, shorter or obsolete, whatever the reason, you can depreciate it for 3.
Okay, take meat cattle. You know, you buy a small calf for $500-600, but then as they grow old and gain weight, they become really worth more. So I guess you would appreciate a calf.
No. It depends. If you went out and bought a milk cow for $1,000, you got $1,000 asset, don't you? Say you go out and buy a calf for $100, but you're gonna take off the feed and the grain every year as an expense. Now that calf is still on your books at $100. But when it gets grown, you may turn around and sell it for $1,100. You've had $1,000 gain, but you've also deducted all the feed, everything else it takes, vet fees and everything. All right, now, natural resource. This formula is the same as your activity-based appreciation. It's cost over units, life in units, okay? Now, this company bought some mineral deposits, and they're going to take out 1 million tons. Okay, so take your formula, and that's 40 cents a ton. Now, here they're telling you total mined during the year, tons mined during the year. IRS only lets you take what you sold. So you got 40 cents a unit times 9,000, so you've got 36,000. All right. So you divide, you buy some coal rights for $2 million. A good mine engineer, good geologist, probably could tell you how many tons that you may be able to get from your purchase. And you might be able to get 10,000 tons. All right. So this year, out of that 10,000 tons, you took out 2 million tons. Now, what is my depletion? What is my depletion?
So we have 10 million tons, right?
Do what?
We have 10 million tons, right?
Okay.
You were saying we had 10,000 tons, but we have 10 million.
Golly, that is 10,000. What did I?
It's out of zero.
Wait a minute. That's 10 million. I'm off today. Let's see. I paid 2 million. Yeah, 10 million tons, and we're going to mine 2 million tons.
So $400,000.
$400,000 will be your first year depletion. Okay, Ryan just divided the dollars by the tons and got how much a ton?
20 cents.
And you multiply 2 million times 20 cents, and you got 400,000. So your debit depletion expense, 400,000, and you would credit accumulated depletion. An entry like that. Now that's capitalization also, capitalizing. Now your third item you capitalize are intangible assets. And Ryan, you said the other day a patent is on equipment, a workable process, assembly line, just the way a transmission is put in your automobile, you get a patent on it. First automobile companies a long time ago, when they came out with Power Glide, which was automatic, other car companies bought the patent from them so they could have automatic transmission. And then all these other things have came out on vehicles. Some companies produce themselves, or they steal ideas from other companies. They have spies, or they buy their patents, or make their own process. So a patent, it depends on the life. It usually has to be given to you. A copyright is on your book, songs, poetry, trademark. We were looking at your bottles the other day. What is a trademark? Anyway, on an apple, trying to find, well, mine don't have it real plain. Who's got an Apple phone? All right. Where's your apple? Okay, there's your apple. Okay. So that apple, is that like a symbol or a trademark or what for apple?
Yeah, it's a registry trademark.
A registered trademark? Okay. Now, some people related that apple to the Bible. That apple has a bite taken out of it. And supposedly Eve had Adam take a bite out of an apple, right? But a byte in computers is what, Ryan? What is a byte?
It's 64 bits.
64 bits? What's a bit?
It's a operation.
Digital information.
Okay. And then it takes so many of those to come up and make a gig. All right, what's higher than a gig?
Terabyte.
What?
Terrifying.
Terabyte? Anything bigger than that?
You have to make up your prefixes, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the biggest one is like a Zeta drive. It's like used by the Department of Energy in order to calculate a bunch of power regulations.
Yes. Okay, so anyway, these things can be amortized. So look at this. Safe, pronounce that word. Okay, amortization. All right, I guess we put it together fast. It's amortization. But you can see where the mort comes in there. But that doesn't matter. It's amortization. Just know it. Now, we will debit that as an expense. However, we do not credit accumulate amortization on patent. We just credit the patent. We credit the asset itself. Now, we've had current assets and we've had fixed assets. And now we've got intangible assets. That's a third category on your balance sheet. All right. You go down to the corner and you want to buy this little corner zip-in market. You had the land appraised and it's worth $30,000. You had the building appraised and it's worth $50,000. You got the price of all the inventory and the coolers and all the assets inside the store, and that's worth another $40,000. So that's how much altogether? 100 what?
120.
Now that's what you would offer for the store. Asset against asset. But the store owner wants $135,000. And you're willing to pay that. Why would you pay 15,000 more than what it's worth?
But you'll get that back.
What?
She said it.
But you'll get it back, you'll make it.
Somebody's already, excuse me, picked the location, right? Somebody's already got customers, right? Somebody's already got established business. They've already got suppliers and so forth. You're just set up, ready to go. So you're gonna pay 15,000 for goodwill. Okay? So goodwill has different meanings. You know what it means during the Christmas season, don't you? All right, that's a different kind of goodwill. A copyright is good for 70 years after the author's death. So Elvis Presley music is still good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, how many of you have listened to Elvis Presley? Do you like him, Margot?
My mom loves it.
Your mom does?
Yeah, we used to listen to it a lot when I was younger.
Well, he can sing rock, he can sing pop, he can sing country, he can sing religion, he can sing the blues, he can sing anything. And he had albums connected. I guess they call him the king of rock and roll. And what do they call Michael Jackson? Is he the king of pop? Okay. How about country? Who's the king of country?
George Strait.
I don't know. I don't know if they got one or not.
They said George Strait.
Was the Dolly Parton would be the queen of country? Okay. All right. Anyway, that's off left field or something or other. All right. Now, when you write off goodwill every year, you just take a loss from impaired goodwill and credit to goodwill. See, before when you bought this, you debit your assets for that $120,000, and you debit goodwill for the $15,000, and you credit to cash for the $135,000. All right, that's what you initially did. Now, here's what you do if you want to write off over 10 years. That'd be $1,500 a year. All right, that'd be the entry for goodwill, but you won't have entries on this test. There's one more item, because we can look at a balance sheet, and we know that accumulated depreciation is a minus or a contra account. You don't see depreciation on land. And now we know we've got fixed assets, property, plant, and equipment. We had current assets, and we've got intangible assets on a balance sheet. One last thing in this chapter is your fixed asset turnover. All right. Here you only have to take the average book value of fixed assets, beginning plus ending, divided by 2, divided into sales, and you get a turnover of something. Here it looks like it would be 1.1. I'm not worried about those ratios. You'll get them later. Now, the appendix is changing your fixed assets, similar for similar, but we're not going to cover the appendix. And as I told Margot, if you have a exchange, I'll tell you the answer, okay? Now, let's look at the end of chapter 10. Now, let's get the assignment straight, Ryan. In chapter 9, what bonus problems did I give you a bonus in chapter 8?
Problem 6, or problem 9, 6A.
Did I give you one in chapter 8?
You already returned it in.
What?
Returned it in.
Somebody remember what problem it was?
A5.
All right, I took that up the other day, right? Now, what problem in chapter 9?
6A, 9, 6.
And when am I supposed to take that up? Today? How many has it ready today? I think I'm supposed to take that today, so let me go ahead and take that one.
I got that my name on mine.
We'll go back and try to review 9.6a.
Is that her name?
Okay, now let's go to chapter 10. Your very last bonus, which is due next Thursday at 8:30. All right. In chapter 10, I want you to try some of these.
You gave us 2A.
Did I give you 2A?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's probably not enough.
Yeah,
It can be, we'll be our host.
yeah, we'll be okay.
2A is comparing three methods. But I'd like for you to do 5A also.
As a bonus.
I'm counting both of those as a bonus. 2A, 5A should be signed.
So how many points total are we going to be getting?
One apiece.
1 point?
Margot, I'll give you 10 for attendance, 5 for registration. And for all of these problems, they'll probably add up to 10 points. You'll probably get 2.5 points for each problem.
A total of 25.
Right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going all the way back to chapter 9. Now, it wouldn't hurt some of you on your own to work problem 1 to help you understand what items go on to cost of an asset. But in chapter 9, what problems, was it 6? Was there not another problem attached to chapter 9? Problem 9 what, Ryan? I just got it up there. Is that it, 6A?
Yeah.
Okay, look at page 478 in your book. We loaned 18,000 cash to Trina, receiving a 90-day 8% note. Now, hopefully you didn't just copy this from Moodle. Hopefully you may have checked your answers from Moodle. So hopefully you work this problem.
The answers are on.
Yeah, always have been. I should have the same answers on Moodle as I have right here. Has anybody checked your answers on Moodle? You found them on Moodle? Okay. That's why I don't understand that you don't turn in a bonus, even if you copied it from Moodle. I don't like you copying, but if that's the best you can do, at least turn it in, get the bonus.
Do you have your grade book on that?
Not on this one. On my desktop.
If I go to your office after this class.
If you can't remember 3 grades, Ryan, you don't deserve to know them. Isn't that right?
I didn't even know mine too. I was gonna ask.
Oh, you didn't?
Well,
I'll show you the ones I have down, yeah, if you want.
not sure which ones you wrote down.
I left up here in 79 and the dean called me. The fellow that came in after me to take my place, his name was Pop. Last name was Pop. And he put a solution manual up in the library. He didn't have Moon Link. Download them on computers and so on. So he put it on the library. Well, the dean called me. He just wanted something to fuss about with that new professor. This particular dean always liked to have somebody having a feud with him. One day I told him the only thing that made him happy was an unhappy feud with another professor. I could do that because I knew it probably better than anybody else did.
Yeah.
I went to school with him. But he was condemning that professor for putting a solution manual in the library. I said, what's wrong with it? You should not condemn him if he's not counting problems as a test grade or homework as a test grade. It does no harm for a student to check a solution. Now, you could worry yourself to death 5 hours over trying to get a solution. Well, you could look at it and see it probably almost instant. That's my theory. So I don't care if you look at the solution. It don't help you in your test grade. They should know how to get those solutions. So, looking at this problem, Ryan, what was your first entry?
That's receivable for 18,000. Accounts receivable.
Okay, almost. Now, when you put a notes receivable on your book in lieu of an accounts receivable, you create an accounts receivable. If you sold a piece of equipment for 18,000, you can credit sale. But here we loan our customer cash. All right. Now, how about that second entry? Sold merchandise on account for 24,000. All right, Alexander, how about that one?
So you would debit accounts receivable for 24,000, credit sales for 24,000, and debit cost of merchandise sold for 14,400, and then credit merchandise inventory for 14,400.
All right. Alexander remembers one is generic entry for sale. We had back in chapter 5. Debit, accounts receivable, credit sales, and debit cost of merchandise sold and credit accounts receivable. Takes 2 entries, perpetual system. Now that third entry, sold merchandise on account to Dry Creek. Now that's the same old entry, so now the next entry, accepted a 60-day note on account. See, how about that entry? Same as the first entry, except Ryan gave the right answer to this one. Debit what, Ryan?
Notes receivable.
Right. So you can have a notes receivable on your book in lieu of accounts receivable or loan in cash or savings. Accepted another 60-day note. So this is another like entry. We're getting a lot of notes on our books now, aren't we? 3 of them. Recorded the interest due from Trina and a new 120-day 9% note. Okay. Now, this person cannot pay you when that note's due. He's going to give you another note. Well, you gotta write off the old note, put the new note on your books. So your debit note's receivable and your credit note's receivable. But you do something with the income on the old note. Your debit note's receivable and your credit note's receivable. But you are going to get cash for the interest and your credit interest revenue. Okay. All right. How about on the 11th? We received from Bradford Company the amount due on the note of March the 12th. I calculate the interest on this note, everybody. Calculate the interest on this note. We should have calculated this one. Calculate the interest. While you're at it, go ahead and calculate May the 13th, the interest on that dishonored note. Take a minute and calculate the interest on those two notes. All right, can't give you much time, so here you go. Debit cash of $24,280, credit notes receivable. How many of you had 280? How many of you had the 280 calculated? Some of you may have gotten to this one. On this note, it was dishonored, but you put it in accounts receivable. How many of you had 900 on that note? 3 of you had got 900 on that note. Okay. Now, this person up here, the 60,000 was dishonored, but they're going to honor it. Give you 12% interest for 60 days. So you've got accounts receivable 60,009, and you've got interest revenue of 1218. Now looking at the rest of this problem, we collected cash, got rid of the note, and we got interest revenue of 540. Here we had another sale. All right, but here we just got cash for our accounts receivable. Okay, know your notes in chapter 9. Know your bank reconciliation in chapter 8. Know your depreciation in chapter 10. Now, is there anybody in here that is not pre-registered yet? Anybody not pre-registered? Okay, I'll see you in a week at 8:30. And Ryan's going to bring everybody breakfast biscuits. I'm kidding, Ryan. See, nobody in here works at McDonald's. All right, but now it's exam time at 8:30. You want to bring coffee with you? Margo brings her Red Bull every day.
We don't have class on Tuesday.
What?
We don't have class on Tuesday. We don't have class on Tuesday.
No, it's exam.
So are you able to open your grade book now, or is there a better time for me? I don't know if you have class right now.